What if I told you that you could stop buying seeds for your garden and instead grow your plants directly from kitchen scraps? Sounds too good to be true? Well, today I'm going to show you exactly how to make it happen. Welcome to SproutCycle Garden. If you're passionate about gardening or simply looking to save money and reduce waste, you're in the right place. Today I'm going to show you how to grow 10 different plants directly from your kitchen scraps. Trust me, you'll never look at your leftovers the same way again. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on amazing gardening tips like this one. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through how to regrow plants like green onions, sweet potatoes, and even an avocado tree, all from kitchen scraps. I'll also give you tips on how to avoid common mistakes and share my best practices for success. Let's kick things off with one of the absolute easiest plants to regrow from kitchen scraps, green onions, or scallions. These guys are not only super simple to grow, but they'll keep producing for you pretty much forever. All you need is the root end of the bunch, and you're on your way to a fresh, free supply of green onions right from your kitchen. Here's how to do it. First, take the root ends of your green onions, about 2 inches of the white part, including the roots. You can grab them from any store-bought bunch, and they don't need to be perfectly fresh. Leftovers work just fine. Now, place them in a glass or jar with just enough water to cover the roots. Put the jar on a windowsill or any place with good sunlight. Change the water every couple of days, and before you know it, you'll start seeing fresh green shoots poking up from the top. It usually only takes 3 to 5 days. One common mistake I see a lot of people make is leaving the water unchanged for too long. You've got to be diligent about swapping out that water every 2-3 days, or else you might notice the roots starting to rot, or worse, mold could grow. Also, make sure you're not overfilling your jar. You just want the roots submerged, but not drowning in water. It's all about balance. Now, here's the best part. In about a week, you'll have a fresh bunch of green onions sprouting up from that little jar. And guess what? You can just keep cutting off the green parts to use in your meals, and the plant will keep growing back indefinitely. No need to keep buying green onions from the store, and you've got fresh herbs right at your fingertips. This is one of the most low-maintenance, high-reward plants you can grow in your kitchen. Before we move on to the next plant, I want to hear from you. Have you ever regrown anything from kitchen scraps that surprised you? Maybe you've tried green onions or something else? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading about your experiences and tips, so make sure to share your thoughts with me. I respond to every single one. Next up, let's talk about romaine lettuce, or really any type of crunchy lettuce. This one's a total game changer for your kitchen garden. Imagine getting a fresh head of lettuce without ever stepping foot in the store. And what's even better, you can regrow it again and again from a simple kitchen scrap. It's incredibly easy, and in just a couple of weeks, you'll have a whole new head of lettuce to harvest, and it's ready to eat. That's right. You can have an endless supply of crispy, fresh lettuce whenever you want. Here's how you do it. First, grab the bottom part of your lettuce, the end with the roots attached. Now, cut off the base, about 2 inches from the bottom, leaving the root section. Take this root end and place it in a shallow bowl or dish, with just enough water to cover the bottom of the stem. Set it on your windowsill or in any place with plenty of sunlight, but not direct sunlight all day. It doesn't need to be too harsh. In about 5 to 7 days, you'll see little green leaves starting to sprout from the top. After about 10 to 14 days, you'll have a full head of lettuce ready to harvest again. It's like a never-ending salad supply. The most common mistake people make is thinking they can just leave the lettuce base in water and forget about it. You've got to make sure to change the water every 2 days, otherwise the roots can get slimy or start to smell, and we don't want that. Also, Be mindful of not overwatering. If the water level gets too high, the lettuce base might rot. Just keep it at the base level and let the roots do their thing. If you're growing in too small a dish, the roots won't have enough space to grow and spread, so make sure the container is wide enough for the roots to expand. Now, here's the best part. Once you've harvested your lettuce, you can regrow it again and again. You'll get a full head of lettuce from the same root scrap over and over. And if you want a constant supply, just repeat the process, using the same method with a new lettuce base. You won't have to buy lettuce at the store again, and you'll have fresh, crispy leaves to add to your salads, sandwiches or wraps whenever you like. It's so rewarding to watch your food grow from something that would have just been thrown out. Let's move on to celery. This one's a real winner in the kitchen garden. Regrowing celery from scraps is one of the most satisfying projects you can do. Not only is it ridiculously easy, but you also get to enjoy fresh stalks of celery with just a few simple steps. If you use celery often for soups, salads or snacks, regrowing it at home is going to save you money and reduce waste. And, just like lettuce, it will regrow multiple times, making it a fantastic addition to your kitchen scrap garden. Here's the trick to regrowing celery. Take the base of the celery stalks, the part that you would typically throw away. Cut about 2 inches from the bottom of the stalks and place this base in a shallow dish. Fill the dish with just enough water to cover the bottom of the celery stump. Place the dish on a windowsill or somewhere it can get a good amount of sunlight. After a few days, you'll start to see the celery begin to grow back. In about 7 to 10 days, you should notice new stalks starting to shoot up from the center. Once the new stalks are a couple of inches tall, it's time to transplant them into a pot with some soil, or you can leave them in the water to continue growing. You'll be amazed at how fast this happens. One mistake a lot of people make is not keeping the water fresh enough. If you leave the water stagnant for too long, the celery can become mushy or moldy. So, change the water every couple of days, just like with the green onions. Another thing to watch out for is placing the celery in too much direct sunlight. While they do need light, too much direct sun can dry them out. Instead, aim for indirect, bright sunlight for the best results. Also, don't rush the process. Celery takes a little longer than green onions or lettuce, so be patient and enjoy watching it grow. Once your celery starts growing back, you'll have stalks to harvest whenever you need them. The best part is, as you harvest, it keeps growing. You'll be able to cut off the stalks you need for cooking or snacking, and the plant will continue to sprout new stalks, almost like a self-sustaining celery garden right on your windowsill. Regrowing celery from scraps gives you fresh produce on demand, and you can enjoy it without having to buy it at the store each time. Plus, it's super rewarding to see something grow from a scrap that you'd usually toss out. Next up, let's talk about bok choy, or pak choy, depending on where you're from. This leafy green is one of the fastest growing plants you can regrow from kitchen scraps. If you've never tried it before, you're in for a treat. It's not just delicious, but incredibly nutritious. And the best part? It grows back in record time, usually within just 7 to 10 days, making it one of the most rewarding plants to regrow in your kitchen. Whether you're tossing it in stir-fries, soups or salads, you'll have an endless supply of fresh bok choy with minimal effort. To regrow bok choy, start by cutting the base of the plant, about 2 inches from the bottom, just like you would with lettuce or celery. Place this leftover base in a shallow bowl or dish with enough water to cover the bottom. Bok choy loves light, so make sure it's placed somewhere that gets plenty of indirect sunlight. Within just a few days, you'll start to see small green leaves emerging from the center of the base. In about a week, the leaves will grow tall enough for you to start harvesting. Once the plant has grown a few inches tall, you can either continue to keep it in the water or transfer it to a pot with soil where it will continue to thrive. One mistake people often make with bok choy is not giving it enough space. You'll want to ensure the roots have enough room to expand, so if you're growing it in a container, make sure it's wide enough to support the plant. Also, don't neglect the water. Make sure to change it regularly to prevent bacteria or mold growth. A lot of people forget about bok choy once they've put it in water, but it's essential to check on it every couple of days, especially as it starts to grow quickly. The best part about regrowing bok choy is how fast it grows back. Within just 7 to 10 days, you'll have fresh, crunchy leaves that are perfect for adding to stir-fries or soups. The more you harvest, the more it grows, so it's a plant that keeps giving. Not only will you be saving money by not having to buy bok choy at the store, but you'll also have access to a super healthy, nutrient-packed vegetable right from your own kitchen. Now, let's get to one of my favorite kitchen plants, ginger. Did you know you can regrow ginger right from the root you buy at the store? It's true, and it's so much easier than you might think. All you need is a small piece of fresh ginger root, and you can have a never-ending supply of ginger right in your own home. Not only is it fantastic for cooking, but fresh ginger is a great ingredient for tea and home remedies. Plus, growing it yourself saves you money and gives you a sense of satisfaction, knowing you grew it from scratch. To start, grab a fresh piece of ginger root from the store. Look for a piece with visible eyes or buds. These are the little areas where the plant will begin to sprout. Cut the root into smaller pieces, making sure each piece has at least one bud. Next, soak the ginger pieces in water for about 24 hours to encourage sprouting. After that, plant the pieces in a pot with well-draining soil, about an inch deep. Ginger loves warmth and humidity, so keep it in a warm spot with indirect sunlight. Make sure to water it regularly, but avoid overwatering. Over time, you'll start to see small green shoots poking through the soil. In 3 to 4 weeks, you'll have a thriving ginger plant ready for harvesting. A common mistake with ginger is planting it too deeply. You want the bud facing up just below the soil surface, not buried too deep, so it can sprout properly. Another issue is not being patient enough. Ginger takes time to grow, so don't expect to harvest it immediately. It takes about 8–10 months for ginger to fully mature, but in the meantime, you'll notice new shoots popping up, which is a good sign that it's growing strong. Also, be mindful of the watering. Ginger likes moist, but not soggy, soil. Keep it moist, but let the soil dry out a bit between waterings to prevent root rot. Once your ginger starts growing, it's a beautiful plant to have around the house. It's a slow grower, but once it's established, it produces an endless supply of fresh ginger that you can harvest as needed. The best part? You can continually harvest the outer parts of the root while leaving the rest to keep growing. So, not only do you get fresh ginger for cooking and teas, but you've also got a sustainable, ongoing supply for years to come. Now, let's talk about garlic. Yes, that powerful little bulb that adds so much flavour to our food. What if I told you that instead of buying garlic at the store, you could grow your own right from a single clove? It's incredibly easy and incredibly rewarding. Garlic is a plant that you can regrow continuously, and once you start growing it, you'll never need to buy it again. Plus, homegrown garlic is more flavourful and often more potent than the store-bought kind. Let's dive into how you can start growing your own garlic at home using just the clove that's left over from cooking. To start, grab a single garlic clove from a head of garlic. Break apart the individual cloves but leave the skin on. That's crucial. take 1 clove and you'll want to plant it root side down in a pot filled with well-draining soil. You don't need a deep pot, just enough to allow the roots to spread out. Place the clove about 2 inches deep in the soil, leaving the pointed top of the clove facing up. Keep your pot in a spot that gets plenty of light and warmth. Water the soil regularly, but make sure it's not too wet, as garlic can rot if the soil stays soggy. As it starts to grow, you'll see green shoots poking up from the soil in just a few weeks. Over the course of several months, your garlic will grow tall and eventually flower. One common mistake people make with garlic is planting the clove too shallow. You want to make sure it's at least 2 inches deep, with the pointy end sticking out just a little bit. Another mistake is overwatering. Garlic prefers dry conditions once it's growing. Too much water can lead to root rot or mold. Also, don't expect to harvest the garlic right away. It takes a little time to mature, usually 6 months to a year, so be patient. And remember, once you harvest, you can save the largest cloves for your next round of planting, creating an endless supply. Now, here's what you can expect. In a few months, you'll see your garlic stalks grow tall and thick, and you'll eventually get to harvest the bulbs beneath the soil. When you pull the garlic out, you'll see those beautiful, fresh bulbs, ready to be used in your cooking. The best part? You can continuously save the biggest and best cloves to plant again, so you'll never have to buy garlic at the store. You're essentially creating your own garlic farm right in your kitchen. And trust me, there's nothing like the satisfaction of harvesting and cooking with garlic you've grown yourself. Before we continue with our next plant, I want to hear from you. What's the most unusual herb or vegetable you've ever tried to grow? From scraps? Or maybe you've already grown garlic at home. Let me know in the comments below. I love reading your experiences, and I respond to every single one. All right, we've covered garlic. Now let's talk about the star of the show, the avocado. This one might sound too good to be true, but it's absolutely real. You can regrow an avocado tree from the pit, and it's surprisingly simple. Imagine growing your own avocado tree at home, whether you have a garden or just a windowsill. It's a fantastic way to have fresh, homegrown avocados, and it's one of those projects that gets a lot of attention from friends and family. Not only will you have a cool plant to show off, but it's also a great conversation starter. To start, take your avocado pit and wash it off to remove any leftover fruit. Next, you'll need some toothpicks. Stick 3 toothpicks into the sides of the pit, about halfway up, so that the pit can be suspended in a glass of water. The bottom of the pit, the flat side, should be submerged in the water, while the top part remains exposed. Place your glass in a sunny spot, but keep it out of direct sunlight. The pit will begin to sprout in about 3 to 6 weeks, with a small root emerging from the bottom and a shoot growing from the top. Once your sprout is about 6 inches tall, you can trim it back to encourage more growth. A common mistake people make with avocados is not being patient enough. It can take a few weeks for the pit to even start sprouting, and many people give up too early. Another mistake is not changing the water frequently enough. You'll want to change the water every 2 days to keep the roots healthy and avoid mold or bacteria buildup. Also, the pit needs warmth and light, but not too much direct sun. Be mindful of keeping it in an area that gets indirect sunlight, and give it time to adjust. Now, here's the exciting part. After a few months, you'll have a full avocado tree. And while it won't start producing fruit for about 3-4 years, it's a beautiful and rewarding plant to grow in the meantime. If you're growing it indoors, it can still thrive in a pot, and you can prune it to keep it a manageable size. The best part? When it does eventually fruit, you'll have the satisfaction of harvesting your own avocados. something most people think can only be done outdoors in a large garden. But before you go, let me tell you what's coming next. In the next part of this video, we're going to dive into how to regrow sweet potatoes and even pineapple from scraps. It's going to be so fun, so stick with me and keep watching. Let's talk about potatoes and sweet potatoes now, two of the easiest and most rewarding plants to grow from kitchen scraps. If you've ever had a potato sprout on you, you know exactly what I mean. These two vegetables are not only a pantry staple, but they're incredibly simple to regrow and multiply once you get the process started. Plus, they can give you a ton of new potatoes for a fraction of the cost. Here's how it works. For potatoes, simply take an old potato that has started sprouting, or one that's been hanging around for a while. Cut the potato into chunks, each with at least 1 or 2 sprouting eyes, those little buds you see on the potato. Leave the pieces out for a day or two to dry so they don't rot when you plant them. After that, place them into the soil, burying them about 4 inches deep. Make sure the eyes are facing up. For sweet potatoes, you can start by placing the whole sweet potato in a jar of water with toothpicks, similar to the avocado method. Once the sprouts grow, you can break them off and plant them directly into the soil. Both potatoes and sweet potatoes love full sun, so find a bright spot for them. The biggest mistake people make with potatoes is not allowing them to dry out enough before planting them. This can lead to rot. Another mistake is not planting them deep enough. You want to give them plenty of space to grow, so make sure your soil is deep enough, about 4 inches for potatoes, and even deeper for sweet potatoes. And remember to water them regularly, but not too much, because they don't like their roots sitting in water. After a few weeks, you'll see the plants start to grow tall, and by the time they're fully mature, usually after 3 to 4 months, you'll be able to harvest a bounty of potatoes or sweet potatoes. The best part? You can keep replanting the new sprouts or pieces of the sweet potato to keep the cycle going, and soon you'll have a mini potato farm right at home. Before we move on, I want to hear from you. Have you ever tried growing potatoes or sweet potatoes at home? What was your experience? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I can't wait to see what you've grown. Next, let's talk about pineapple. Yes, you can grow your very own tropical pineapple right from the scraps of a store-bought one. This one's not only impressive, but super fun to grow. It takes a bit of patience, but you'll be rewarded with your very own tropical plant that could eventually fruit. The best part? You can grow it indoors or outdoors, so no matter where you live, it's possible. To start, simply twist off the crown of a pineapple, making sure to remove all the excess fruit around the base. Let the crown dry out for a couple of days to prevent rotting. After that, place the base of the crown in a cup of water, making sure the bottom of the crown is submerged. Change the water every couple of days to keep it fresh. In a few weeks, you'll start to see roots growing out of the base. Once the roots are well established, you can plant it into a pot with soil, or directly in your garden. Pineapples love warm, sunny spots, so place them somewhere with plenty of light. A common mistake is not allowing the crown to dry properly before planting it in water. If you don't let it dry, it can rot. Also, pineapple plants can be slow to sprout, so don't be discouraged if it doesn't seem to grow at first. You'll need a bit of patience, but once it starts sprouting, you'll be well on your way to having your own tropical fruit plant. In the coming months, your pineapple plant will grow bigger and stronger. Eventually, you may get a small fruit that will ripen, and when it does, you'll have homegrown pineapple. It's a long process, but the joy of harvesting your own tropical fruit will make it all worth it. Stick with me, because after this, we're diving into how to regrow some of the most popular herbs: basil, mint, cilantro, and lemongrass. These are so easy to regrow, and will provide you with a never-ending supply of fresh herbs all year long. Now, let's talk about herbs, specifically basil, mint, cilantro, and lemongrass. These are some of the easiest plants you can regrow, and once you start, you'll never have to buy herbs again. You can grow them from any leftover stems you have, and they're perfect for anyone who loves fresh herbs but doesn't want to spend money at the store every week. To get started, all you need is a bunch of fresh herb stems. For basil, mint, or cilantro, take a few inches of the stem and place it in a glass of water, making sure the bottom of the stem is submerged. For lemongrass, cut a few stalks about 6 inches long and place them in water with the cut side down. After a few days, you'll see roots begin to grow. Keep the glass in a sunny spot, and within a week or two, you'll have new, healthy herb plants growing. Once they have a good root system, you can either keep them in water or transplant them into a pot with soil. A common mistake is not changing the water frequently enough. When regrowing herbs, it's essential to replace the water every couple of days to keep the roots healthy. Another mistake is not trimming back the stems after the herbs start to grow. Pruning helps the plant grow fuller and more robust. For basil and mint, be sure to pinch back the flowers as well, as this helps the plant focus its energy on growing more leaves. The benefits of regrowing herbs are incredible. You'll have fresh basil for your pasta, mint for your mojitos, cilantro for your tacos, and lemongrass for your soups, all without ever having to buy them at the store. And since herbs grow quickly, you'll always have an endless supply on hand. Just keep trimming, and the plants will keep growing. So now that you know how to regrow some of the easiest kitchen scraps, let me know in the comments, what are you most excited to try growing? Or do you have any tips for growing herbs? I love hearing from you, and I respond to every comment. Now, before we wrap things up, I've got a special bonus tip for you. Something that's a little outside the box, but can take your kitchen scrap gardening to the next level. If you've ever wanted to go the extra mile, consider setting up a DIY hydroponic system right in your kitchen. It sounds complicated, but it's actually easier than you think. Hydroponics is simply growing plants in water, and you can use your kitchen scraps to create an entirely soil-free garden. For example, you can regrow things like herbs, lettuce, or even strawberries using a simple container, some water, and a little creativity. The beauty of hydroponics is that you don't need to worry about the quality of your soil, and it works great for people with limited space. Here's how you can set it up. All you need is a container to hold the water, some nutrient solution, and your kitchen scraps, like the base of lettuce or herb stems. Suspend the plants over the water and watch as they grow their roots directly into the nutrient-rich water. It's like giving your plants a spa day. Plus, they'll grow faster because they have constant access to the nutrients they need. If you're curious about this method, I'll be doing a full DIY hydroponics tutorial in an upcoming video, so make sure you stick around for that. Now, if you've enjoyed these tips and want to learn even more about how to grow your own garden for free, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more gardening hacks. I've got plenty more tips coming your way, from growing fruit trees to building your own composting system. Everything you need to turn your kitchen into a self-sustaining garden. Plus, if you found this helpful, share it with your friends who might be looking for ways to save money and reduce waste. So let's do a quick recap. We've covered 10 amazing plants you can easily grow from kitchen scraps, and I hope you're as excited as I am to start your own scrap-to-plant garden. It's cost-effective, eco-friendly, and honestly, it's so much fun to see your leftovers turn into fresh, healthy produce. Whether you're regrowing green onions, potatoes, or even an avocado tree, you're saving money, helping the planet, and learning some new gardening skills along the way. I can't wait to hear how your kitchen scrap gardens turn out. Leave a comment below telling me what you're going to grow first, and I'll be sure to check it out. But before you go, I've got something exciting coming up. Next week, I'll show you how to create the perfect DIY composting system for your kitchen scraps. Trust me, this is going to make your garden thrive like never before, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.